Your credit score costs you nothing to check. It costs a lender between 60 cents and $4.95 to pull, according to FICO's published royalty schedule. And the company that sells that score just posted annual revenue of $1.99 billion in fiscal 2025. You are not the customer. You are the raw material. The three companies that store your data, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, pulled in a combined $18.2 billion last year. Based on their 2025 annual reports, $18.2 billion. From your payment history, your balances, your address changes, your late Thursday night online cart that you almost closed but did not. All of it scraped, packaged, and sold before you wake up on Friday. And here is the part that makes this a business story and not a public service story. None of that $18.2 billion came from you. The bureaus do not work for you. They work for lenders. They work for landlords. They work for insurance companies. You are the inventory, and the inventory does not get a say in the pricing. The first layer of this thing looks clean. You go about your life, you pay your bills, you carry a credit card, and somewhere in a data center, a file with your name on it updates. 3 files actually, one at each bureau. Those files generate a score. That score determines whether you get approved for a mortgage, a car loan, a credit card, an apartment. Simple enough. You behave well, you get a good score, and doors open. That is the version they want you to believe. The version underneath it starts with a number, 1.169 billion. That is how much FICO made last year just from its scores segment, according to the company's fiscal 2025 annual report. Not software, not analytics, just the score. Up 27% from the year before. And FICO does not lend money. FICO does not manage your account. FICO does not take deposits. FICO built a formula and charges every lender in America a toll every single time they want to evaluate you. 90% of U.S. lending decisions use a FICO score. That is not a market share. That is a monopoly wearing a polo shirt. The toll keeps going up. In 2023, FICO introduced a tiered royalty for mortgage scores that range from 60 cents to $2.75 per score, depending on lender volume. By 2024, they flattened it to $3.50 across the board. By 2025, the mortgage score price hit $4.95. For 2026, FICO announced it is doubling the per-score royalty to $10, while pitching a new direct-to-reseller license at a lower rate. 5 consecutive years of price jumps. And every dollar of that increase gets baked into the cost of your mortgage application. You are paying for the toll, you just cannot see the booth. Think about what that factory floor actually looks like. You swipe a card, a data point enters the system. Equifax logs it, Experian logs it, TransUnion logs it. 3 copies of the same behavior stored in 3 separate warehouses. FICO runs its formula across that data and sells the output back to the lender who gave you the card in the first place. The lender pays the bureau for the data. The lender pays FICO for the score. And then the lender uses that score to decide how much to charge you in interest. The average credit card AP right now is 21.52%. According to Federal Reserve data from February 2026, the total credit card debt in this country just hit $1.28 trillion per the New York Fed's fourth quarter 2025 report. $1.28 trillion. That is the raw material, refined. That is the factory output. You are on both ends of it. You generate the data and you pay the interest. And the middle collects $18 billion. Now here is where the second layer peels off. And I expected them to cut corners, but I did not expect them to remove the floor. You check your score, most people do, and most people check it on a free app. The most popular one is Credit Karma. Over 100 million members, free credit monitoring, free score. Sounds like a public service. It is not a public service, it is a referral engine. Credit Karma is owned by Intuit, the same company that makes TurboTax. In Intuit is fiscal year 2025. Credit Karma generated $2.3 billion in revenue, up 32% from the year before. According to Intuit, is earnings report $2.3 billion from a free app. Everything here is public record. I am not selling anything. I am showing you what is already filed with the SEC. And the way that $2.3 billion works is this. When you open Credit Karma and see a credit card offer with your name next to it, and you click it and you apply, the lender pays Credit Karma a referral fee. That is the entire business model. You are not the customer, you are the lead. And the score they show you is not even the score your lender uses. Credit Karma shows you a VantageScore. Most lenders use FICO. The two models weigh your data differently. The numbers are not the same. You might see a 720 on Credit Karma and walk into a bank, where your FICO sits at 685. That gap is not a rounding error. That gap determines your interest rate. Roughly 90% of top lenders use FICO scores, according to industry reporting by Yahoo Finance. And Credit Karma has no reason to explain that gap to you. Because the longer you stay on the app and the more offers you tap, the more money they make. In 2022, the Federal Trade Commission filed a complaint against Credit Karma. The charge was deceptive marketing. Credit Karma told users they were pre-approved for credit cards. Said users had 90% odds of approval. Almost a third of the people who applied based on those claims got denied. Denied after a hard inquiry on their credit report, which lowered their score, which made their next application harder. The app that was supposed to help them literally made their credit worse. The FTC ordered Credit Karma to pay $3 million. $3 million. The company made $2.3 billion that year. That fine was 0.13% of annual revenue. That is not a penalty. That is a processing fee. You lost a hard inquiry and 45 minutes of your life. They lost a rounding error. Here is the third layer, the one most people never see. The bureaus do not just store your data for lenders to pull. When you apply for something, they actively sell your data in bulk. It is called a pre-screened list. A credit card company walks up to Equifax and says, "Give me every consumer in the state of Florida with a score between 680 and 720, a revolving balance above 8,000 and no recent delinquencies." Equifax generates the list. The credit card company mails those consumers an offer. You are not applying, you did not ask. Your data was sold while you were sleeping, and the proof shows up in your mailbox as a glossy envelope with your name on it, per the FTC's own consumer guidance on pre-screened offers. Now put a person at the center of this machine. A 27-year-old freelance graphic designer in Tampa. About $59,000 a year. No employer-provided benefits, no retirement match. They check Credit Karma every Sunday night before the week starts. VantageScore says 712 feels good. They see a cashback credit card offer with green text. That says excellent approval odds. They click, they apply. The lender pulls their FICO 678. They get approved, but at a 24.99% APR. Instead of the 17.99 they saw in the ad. The card has a 3% foreign transaction fee they did not notice. The annual fee kicks in at month 13. Nobody lied to them, nobody told the truth either. The system just let the gap between a VantageScore and a FICO do the negotiating. That is not one person's story. That is the math for anyone in that zip code, that income bracket. That line of work. The system calls this a choice. The math calls it a trap with two exits and one of them is locked. It gets worse. The data that these companies store is not even accurate. A 2013 FTC Street UD found that 1 in 5 consumers had an error on at least one of their 3 credit reports. 1 in 4 found errors significant enough to affect the terms they received. And a Consumer Reports investigation in 2024 put the number higher. 44% of participants who checked their reports found at least one mistake. 27% found serious errors. 44%. The factory is stamping out defective product at a 44% rate and still billing full price, no recall, no refund. Just a dispute process that puts the burden on you to prove the machine made a mistake. And here is the part about who profits from the errors staying in place. The bureaus have no financial incentive to fix your report quickly. Every data point in your file, accurate or not, makes the file more valuable to the lenders buying access. A thicker file sells for more than a thin file. An error that lowers your score might cost you a higher interest rate, but it does not cost the bureau anything. They already got paid. The lender already got the data. The only person holding the bill for the mistake is you. Equifax exposed the personal data of 147.9 million Americans in 2017. Names, social security numbers, birth dates, addresses, driver's license numbers. The settlement was up to $700 million, according to the FTC. That sounds like a punishment. It was not. Equifax's annual revenue in 2017 was $3.4 billion, per Equifax's own fourth quarter earnings release. Its revenue in 2025 was $6.075 billion. They leaked your social security number and then nearly doubled their revenue in 8 years. The breach was a speed bump. The stock recovered. The executives moved on. Your data is still out there. The whole machine runs on one assumption: that you will not follow the money, that you will open the free app, look at the number, feel a small rush or a small panic, and go back to your life, that you will not ask who bought your data today, that you will not ask why the score on your phone is not the score in the bank system, that you will not ask why the company that lost your social security number is now worth more than it was before it lost it. You open the app at 11 at night, the number is up 4 points. You feel something: relief, maybe control. That feeling is the product, not the score, the feeling. Because as long as you feel like you are managing your credit, you will keep opening the app, keep tapping offers, keep feeding the machine. Nobody talks about this at the office. Nobody brings it up at dinner. Everyone checks their score in private, alone, usually on their phone, usually at night, and everyone assumes the number is the whole story. It is not the whole story, it is the price tag on the box, and the box is you. So here is the question you have to sit with. If the product is you and the factory has a 44% defect rate, and the penalty for a 147 million person data breach is a speed bump on the way to doubling revenue, who exactly is this system accountable to? Because it is not accountable to you. And the only thing it is optimized for is making sure you never ask that question.